Around 753 BC, just after the creation of Rome, the walls of the city are breached for the first time by a formidable civilization known as the Sabines. Rome had just kidnapped and forced into marriage the young women of the neighboring cities in order to sustain its own population, which had consisted of mostly men. But this had thrust the young city right into a regional war just as it was getting going. What comes next may not be believable, but it makes for a hell of a story, and the Romans will come to see it as one of the defining moments of their early history. This is day 7 of reading the History of Rome by Livy and giving you the highlights so that you can tell all your friends that you read a book this year. So we're picking up where we left off last time with the Sabines occupying the Roman citadel on the Palatine Hill. Now the Romans, led by Romulus, seek to reclaim the citadel. They launch an attack from a marshy area at the foot of the hill. But they are rebuffed by the Sabines when their strongest warrior, a guy named Medius Curtius, defeats the Roman champion, who is a guy named Hostius Hostilius. Great name. When Hostius dies, the Romans fall into a disordered retreat, which also sweeps away Romulus. And as he is swept away, he prays to Jupiter, promising the god a temple if the god will help him. And apparently he just feels as if his prayer is answered, and he shouts to the Romans, "Turn on them, Romans, and fight once more. Jupiter himself commands it." And apparently this works, because the Romans turn and meet the pursuing Sabines, which take them by surprise because the Sabines had assumed the Romans were defeated. And at this point, Medius has this great line where he tells the troops that are around him the Romans are about to find out that catching girls is a different matter than fighting men. But unfortunately for him, this cool line comes right as Romulus and the best Roman troops fall on him, and he loses control of his horse, which runs off into a part of the swamp. And when the Sabines see that they are losing their strongest warrior, the battle descends into chaos. It looks like there's going to be bloodshed, but right at that moment, all the women the Romans had kidnapped jump between the two fighting parties. They say that they have come to love the Romans, and they can't bear to see their new husbands fighting against their fathers. And Livy says at this, the battle stops immediately, and the two civilizations make peace, which is a little bit unbelievable, but that's what Livy says, and that's probably what the Romans actually believed. Oh yeah, and right at the spot where Medius Curtius falls into the swamp, supposedly the Romans remember where that spot is, and you can still go and visit it to this day. And that's the story of Rome's first war. I'll be covering what happens next tomorrow.